Core competencies in the sense that efficient usage of a management of an information system will going to help me in order to make a best decision, integrate both the computer system or information technology with a business, then that will help me in order to make a best decision. MIS needs to help the users in order to be productive in nature. MIS must have the ability to hold or to process the complex data and information. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I am Rohini TS, Assistant Professor, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. So in our today's session, we will be discussing about the B.B.A second years, that is third semester, a subject called Management Information System. So in short, we are going to call this as an MIS. So I am dealing with a module 1 along with a session 1, that is nothing but introduction to MIS. So when it comes to the syllabus, here you have to concentrate what are the content it will going to include. So if you consider the syllabus of a module 1, which is introduction to MIS, it consists of meaning and concepts, how it is evolved, that is evolution of MIS and what is its significance and need, what is the purpose of having this MIS, and also I will be discussing about the objectives and features of that MIS and what are the subsystem this MIS consists of, that is subsystem of the MIS, and also it includes MIS and other academic disciplines. So apart from this, using this MIS only for the business of a management purpose, how can we use this MIS in another disciplines also, and also we are going to deal with the operating elements of the MIS, and I will be discussing about the structure of MIS, which will be based on the management activity. Along with that, I am going to discuss about the structure of MIS, which is based on the organizational function. So these are the content which comes under the module 1, that is nothing but introduction to MIS. So we'll see the first thing that is related to MIS. So as the name indicates, MIS, that is Management Information System. How efficiently we are going to manage the information. As we all know that information is like an asset for the organization. So somehow it is related to money, time, and it is also related to some resources. So information cannot be disclosed to our competitors. So if the competitors get to know about the information, strength and weakness of our organization or an enterprise, then somehow that will going to lead to the loss of the business. So information is considered as what? Precious things in the market. So how we are going to manage that information? How systematically can we manage that information, which with the help of computer system, that comes under the category of this management information system. So in short, we are going to call that as a MIS. So you can see that management information system, how we are managing the information in a systematic manner, that is related to MIS. Then what is its definition? MIS is nothing but it is the term given to the discipline which is focused on the integration of computer system with the aims and objectives of the organization. So here we are focusing on the organization terms and condition, and also we are focusing on the objectives of the organization. Along with that, I have a computer system. So what are the activities we are performing in the organization or an enterprise or in the firms? So for that purpose, we are having this computer system. I'm making some decision. I'm systematically handling the information with the help of computer system. That discipline is termed as what? MIS, or a Management Information System. So it is defined as a system which provides information support for decision making in the organization. So if I make a proper decision, then that will lead the company to be in the top of a market. Whatever the decision we are making, that is also important. For that purpose, I am using the computer system for the specific management and structural management of the information. So here MIS is defined as a computer-based information system. I have an information, I am storing it in some systematic manner with the help of computer. So that is related to MIS. We'll see the next topic, that is what is this MIS concept is all about. Already I told you about why information is considered as a resource. because information is somehow an asset to the organization or to the enterprise. So for our competitors, if we are showing our weakness and strength, then they are they are going to start to play with the organization or enterprise. We have to keep the information in a confidential manner. So when it comes to the MIS concept, we are not going to have the information only for the decision making. For also, we are going to use this MIS in another disciplines also, and we are going to have this information for various purpose. So the concept of MIS in today's world is system which handles the databases. As we all know that database will going to have the ability to hold large amount of data. If you are running a business or if you are running a firms or an enterprise, it is not only deal with a single unit. It will going to have a huge amount of information. We can't store it in the pen drive, or we can't store it only in the help of some of the secondary storage devices. We require database. That database will going to have different kinds of data that helps to hold the different kinds of data. For example, if you are running a business, I'm not at all going to have a information from a single source. I'm going to collect the information from various sources. Then this database will going to help us in order to hold different kinds of data. So this concept will going to have the capacity, or which will handles the databases, which will provide computing. That means I can say that as a computing. Why it is commercial purpose, we are putting that information in the database. So that is computing facilities to the end of a user. So nowadays, if you just take an example of recharging to your SIM or recharging to your mobile, so are we going to wait for others? No, we are going to have some electronic applications, we are going to have some application software, we are going to recharge our SIM cards by our own. We are not ready to wait for others to do all those things, right? So what it means, whatever the features we have, whatever the options we have, everything must comes to the end of an user. So user must have the ability to access that data. So when it will going to have that feature, then it will going to get more popularity. In the same way, for example, I'm storing large amount of data and I'm running a business, but that information cannot be handled by me, or that information can't be managed by me, then somehow that is no of use. So here also, when it comes to the MIS concept, main concept of MIS is what? The data and information that must be available to the user 24/7. Then only they can make a efficient decision making. That is the concept which is related to MIS. So you can see here, and it gives a variety of decision making tools to the user of the system. When it is available to the end of a user, at that time everything will going to get more popularity than the existing system. This is related to MIS concept or management information concept. We'll see the next topic, that is evolution of MIS. How this MIS evolved. So if you go back to the earlier days, or if you go back to the ancient days, at that time when they wanted to make a decisions, or when they wanted to run any of the business or an organization, at that time everything will going to be calculated, managed with the help of manual things. That means I can say that it is of paperwork. No computers were used, no another electronic gadgets were used. So they just keep on writing, they are just keeping all the records with the help of pen and paper. As the system evolved and all, they started using this one, that is electronic data processing. In short, I can call that as a EDP. So until 1960, everybody thought that this EDP or electronic data processing is the ultimate way of making a best decision, or in order to hold a large amount of data. But they got to know that we have one more, we have enhanced version of this EDP or electronic data processing. Then we are going to evolve with this transaction processing system. So in this, we can, in short, we can call that as a TPS. So this TPS will going to hold the data which is going to happen day to day. That means it will going to hold the data and information which is happening in the market on a daily basis. So though experts thought that what are the things that we are storing in the book and pen, and what and all we are managing with the system, that is not so efficient. Then they are come up with a new technology called MIS, that is Management Information System. They started using the computers in order to store the data and information which is currently needed for the decision making. That is, the evolution of management information system takes place. Though experts were not so satisfied with this MIS or a TPS, or they are not at all satisfied with this EDP or electronic data processing. So here they were using somehow a computer. That means they stopped using the paper and pen work in order to store the data and information. They started using some patch cards, they started using some electronic gadgets in order to store the data and information. Then started storing the information which is related to the transaction. That means what are the day-to-day activities which is taken place in the market will be recorded. Then MIS. After that, in the 1970s, they started with a decision support system. Why can't we go with a decision support system? That means in the MIS, we are going to store the data and information which will be used for the future. That means if I wanted to make any of the decision in the future, or if I wanted to take any of the decision for future's thing, then we are going to hold the data and information in the computer system. But what if the computer is assisting us, or what if the computer is instructing us in order to make a best decision? Then that kind of system will be termed as this decision support system. So in short, we can call this as a DSS, or a decision support system. So that has been takes place in the year called 1970. So then all the executives, so if you consider any of the organization or an enterprise or a firms, all the executives are not so ready to use the computer systems, or they're not so ready to take the decision which will going to be given by the computer system. Every personality will going to be changed, which is independent. I can say that as what all the executives are in the terms of individual personalities. They are not at all ready to listen to other words, but there must be some system which will going to guide that executive, which will going to help the executive in order to make a decision. That kind of information system will be termed as executive information system. That has been takes place in the year called 1980. That means it will going to give the assistance, or it will going to give the instruction which is helpful for the executive in order to make a decision, which is helpful in order to take the organization or an enterprise or a firms to the next level in the market. After that, we have a expert system. I don't want it to think, I don't want it to take a stress at that time. Then who is going to handle my business? Who is going to take care about my organization or a firms? Then we have a expert system. It will going to analyze the historic things, or it will going to analyze what happened in the previous years, what happened in the previous years to the market. So that and all it will going to analyze, and that will guide, or that will instruct in order to make a decision without thinking anything. That it will going to analyze the previous thing. Then that expert system will going to guide the top level management of an organization. By making use of this expert system, by making use of the new computers like supercomputers, artificial intelligence, by making use of all those technologies and all, it will going to make a decision on its own. Then we have a knowledge management system. This is also somehow enhanced version of this expert system. This will going to use the previous history in order to make a decision. That must be helpful in order to take the efficient weightage of the organization. So by making use of this, nowadays we have this ERP, or Enterprise Resource Planning System, in the late 1990s with the help of supercomputer, with the help of micro and mini computer. They started using computer system in order to store the data and information which will be helpful in order to make a decision, that is efficient decision, which is helpful for the uphold of the organization or an enterprise. So now we are all using this e-business. Everything comes to the tip of the finger. That means no need to go anywhere, no need to discuss physically, so no need to travel anywhere. Wherever we have, there only we can get all the things to us. That means every decision, every step of an organization or a enterprise, everything will going to takes place over the online, that to help with the help of computer system. This is how MIS, or this is how management information system has been takes place. So we'll see the next concept, that is significance and need of MIS. So now we got to know that what is MIS and what are its evolution. That means how it is evolved. It is not takes place overnight. So it has taken different forms, it has taken different stages in order to reach to the today's market. So what are the significance of MIS we have, and why it is needed, or what are its requirement of having this MIS. So we'll see now. MIS and business systems are useful in the collation of business data and the production of reports to be used as the tools for decision making. So wherever you go, when it comes to MIS, we have a information that is an asset to the organization, and I have a computer system. So by collaborating those two, by integrating those two, that will going to help me in order to make a best decision which will be helpful for my organization. Here also, why we are going to have this MIS, the main significant thing is what? I wanted to make a best decision which will going to help for the organization, which is helpful for my enterprise. So for that, I wanted to make a best decision. How can I do that? I don't know what happened previously. I don't know what will be the future of this market. I don't know what is currently happening. But with the help of this MIS, that means with the help of computer system, I can do analysis, I can do whatever the market needs, what are the requirements of a customer, how can I satisfy the customer. By doing all those things, we can have this decision making. So significance is what? We are going to integrate both the computer system or information technology with a business, then that will help me in order to make a best decision. This is the significance and need of having this MIS. We'll see the next topic, that is benefits of MIS. What are the benefits of having this MIS? As we all know that if I wanted to run a business, that is not a single unit. I am going to collect the data from various stages. I am going to collect the data from different sources. Then who is going to handle this variety of data? Who is going to manage this like heterogeneous data? That means it is not at all same kind of data. I need to take a data from either within the organization or even outside the organization. I have to take a help from others also. I need to collect the data from various sources. Then what are the significance and what are the benefits I can say to the MIS? So see, the field of MIS can deliver great many benefits to the enterprise in every industry. It is not only related to what running a business or running a enterprise or an organization. So this MIS concept or a management or like efficient management of a system, like efficient management of an information system will going to take place in every industry, or it will going to take place in every place. Then how this MIS will going to play a significant role? What are the benefits that we can get with the help of this MIS? We'll see now. So core competencies. So if you are running a business or if you are having any of the enterprise or any firms, I must know what are the strength and weakness of my competitors. So when I get to know the strength and weakness of our organization along with who are my competitors, what is their weakness, how can I overcome that weakness in order to get the beneficial things to my organization, that and all we have to think. Then who is going to give the information about the another company, or who is going to give the information about what is happening in the another organization or a firms? With the help of this MIS, that can be takes place. So here core competencies in the sense that efficient usage of a management of an information system will going to help me in order to make a best decision which will going to takes place in the market, then we will be in the top of a market, then I can get to know what are the weakness of my competitors. So this MIS is also going to help me. That is a function, they perform better than their competition. So if I get to know what are the weakness of my competitors, then we can play with that. So this MIS or information or a great efficient usage of information system will going to help us in order to have a core competences. Next we have a enhanced supply chain management. So what it includes? So it includes sourcing of materials to the manufacturing and distribution of the finished product. So if you are running an organization, I can't only go with what raw materials, I can't go with only finished goods. So in between also we have to communicate from the starting to the end. That means when it reaches to the customer, until that stage we have to keep on tracking it. This MIS will going to provide that feature, that is what? Enhanced supply chain management. It is not only going to take care about the sourcing of information, what and all it requires, it is also going to help me in order to reach to the finished goods or service. So that means it will going to have a sourcing of a materials to the manufacturing and also distribution of that finished products to the needed customer. We'll see the next benefit, that is quick reflexes. So I just wanted to ask one thing, are we going to use ARCUT right now? So what it is, where did you heard this word? ARCUT is somehow what like a social media. It was in the initial days, like in the year of 2000, 2001 and all. So now we're all having a digital world. We're all communicating with the social media. We all have the accounts there. So how it is includes to the MIS, why I'm saying all these things, we are all having a quick response to the changing of environment. So if any of the other applications comes by next 2 days, then we are all ready to adopt all those things. So in the market also, this MIS will going to help me in order to adopt to the changes of the environment. What are the requirements of the customer? How can I make my business in an efficient manner? How can I run my business in an efficient manner? That related to this quick reflexes. This MIS system enable an enterprise to react more quickly to their environment. That means changing of a need of a customer, changing of a market, how the business is running day by day, what are the changes are we supposed to make, how can I satisfy the customer, what are their requirements, everything will going to be analyzed with the best and efficient usage of this MIS will going to help us in order to do all those things. This is related to what? Benefits of MIS. We'll see the next thing, that is nature and scope of MIS. Where and all I can use this MIS, what are its nature? So this MIS will going to handle voluminous data. That means if you are running a business that not going to have only single file, it will going to have a data and information which will going to be stored in the database. So it has the ability to handle this voluminous data and confirmation of validity of data and transaction. There is no fake things and there is no malpractice which will going to take place in the MIS. So if the transaction what failures in between, then also transaction manager will be there and concurrency manager will be there. They are going to take care about all the transaction which is happening in the market over the internet with the help of computer system and complex processes of the data and multi-dimensional analysis. I can have a different data which is of simple one or a complex one, but this MIS has the ability to handle all those things and it has a multi-dimensional analysis. It is not only thinking in the single dimension, also it will going to think in every dimension. If you are thinking in all the ways, then only we will get to know what are its advantages and disadvantages or positive or negative of the organization or an enterprise. Then quick search and retrieval. So if you just think about the comparison of what computer system along with the books. For example, if I am saying, so you search this word in this book. At that time, what will going to happen? We have to keep on turning the pages of a book. Then I can get to know where it is. But in the computer system, I have an option called search. So if I am putting that keyword over there, then it will going to give me a record or it will help me to retrieve that data and information within a fraction of a second, which is more efficient, having a details and information carrying over the book or with the help of this computer system. Obviously, it is with the help of computer system, that too with the help of this efficient usage of the MIS. So this quick search and retrieval can be takes place with the MIS, and communication of the information system to the user on time. So you can take the example of share markets. So no need to ask anybody, no need to go to their physical location. So you can just have a mobile along with the internet connection. You can take all the details which is happening day to day, even second to second. So here also communication of the information system will going to help the user, or it will going to reach to the user on time without any delay. So next, fulfilling the changing needs of the information. So nowadays we are using social media. If we are coming up with another features of any of the applications and all, we are ready to adopt all those things. Here also it will going to help in order to allot or in order to adapt to the changing needs of the information. This is regarding what? Nature and scope of the MIS. We'll see the next one. What is the need of MIS? How it will be helpful for me? What is the need of having this MIS? So mainly meeting the global changes. Market is dynamic in nature. It can't be static. So it has to be dynamic in nature, so that it has to adapt to the global changes. This is not only related to particular district or a state or to the any of the continent. It is related to what? Meeting of global changes. That changes could be in terms of users, or in the terms of market, in the terms of production, anything it could be. It has to be ready. Then capturing opportunities in the marketplace. We have to grab an opportunities when it reaches to our place. So we should not wait for the opportunities. We have to create an opportunity in the market. Then supporting corporate strategy. We have to do some strategies. We have to do some tactical things. Then only we can be in the top of a market. Then linking departments whose functions are different. So the market or any of the organization is not only dealing with a single unit. It has a ability in order to work with the different or a various kinds of system. This MIS must help me in order to integrate all the data which is of different kinds together. Then enhancing worker productivity by giving a training or by giving enhancement technologies and all. So that MIS needs to help the users in order to be productive in nature. Next, increase in the quality of goods and services. At last, goods and services, how it is reaching to the user, that matters. So if we are giving a quality product or a service, then customers or users will going to come to us further. So these are the needs we can get with the help of this MIS. In order to handle the complex data, it will going to handle the different global changes. It will going to help. Then it will going to help us to have a corporate strategy, and it will make the worker productive. Then quality of goods and services can be increased. We'll see the next thing, that is objectives of the MIS. What is the usage of this MIS? What is its scope? What are the objectives? How can I get this MIS? If you are thinking in this way, you are at the right place. So we have to write these many objectives of the MIS. What is the first objective? That is data capturing. If I wanted to do analysis, or if I wanted to make some decision without having any data, can I do that? No, I have to capture the data. That means I have to acquire the data from different sources. If I am running a business, I can't handle with a single data or a monotonous data. I have to have a dynamic data. How can I get it? Can I get all the data and information only within the organization? Somehow it is not possible. I have to get a data even outside the organization. So that is what the first step, data capturing. We have to capture the data from different sources. That can be either within the organization, even outside the organization. Next, we have a processing of data. What is this processing? You just understand one thing, data is different, information is different. I will just give you a real-time example. You just take a sugar cane. After grinding it or after doing some things and all, we are going to have a sugarcane juice. That sugarcane is a data, and that processing is what? Grinding, blending and all. So at last what we are getting? That is sugarcane juice, that is information, that is processed data. So here also, before having that as an information, I need to do some manipulation related to this data. That comes under the processing, like segregating, grouping, or what, blending the data, removing of the content and adding a new content which is required for my organization, which comes under the category of this processing of data. After doing all these things, where I am supposed to keep all those data and information which will be helpful for my future decision, it has to be stored somewhere else. Then where it will going to be stored? That is with the help of this storage of information. It can be either of what? Storing of a data and information for temporary purpose, or can be stored in the permanent manner. So either it can be temporary or it can be permanent. If you wanted to have this as a temporary, then we are going to use a primary memory of a computer system, or if you wanted to store the data and information permanently, then we are going to have a secondary storage devices or a secondary memory. So that is related to storage. Next, retrieval of information. Now I process the data, somehow information is ready. Then whenever I require for, that data and information for my decision making, it has the ability to retrieve it 24/7. So now it is day, I can't give it. Now it is night, I can't give the data and information. It should not be like that. It must be available throughout all the days and timings. It must give the data and it must have the ability to retrieve the data and information irrespective of the place, irrespective of the time and irrespective of the days. So retrieval of information is fetching of information from the computer system which is stored in the computer. Next, dissemination of the information. Who needs to access this data? Where it's supposed to go? So that is related to dissemination of information. How the data must be used by whom? So that is related to dissemination. We have to collect the data, we have to process the data, it has to be stored somewhere, it has to retrieve back, and it has to reach to the user when their requirement arises. So here you can see that data capture, processing, and I have to store the data whenever it is required. It has to be retrieved, then it has to reach to the user on the time with the help of this objectives of MIS. This is related to objectives of MIS, and this is also important question. We'll see the next thing, that is features of MIS. What are the features it consists of? I got to know what is MIS, what is its significance, what is its concept, what is its objectives, features and all, what is its need, everything we got to know that. Now we'll see what are the features of MIS we have. What is the first feature? That is continuous flow. As I told, market is not a stagnant or a static thing. It is dynamic. So MIS must able to store the data which will going to change the requirement of a customer, which will going to have a changes in the market environment. Continuous flow in the sense it has to hold the data and information which will going to be like changed in a dynamic manner. So it has to store the data and information continuously. So it should not halt on the Sundays, or it should not halt any of the holidays or a festival. It should not be like this. So when it comes to the feature of MIS, the main thing is what? It has to work with the information and data which is needed for my decision making. Next is what? Decision making. So we are going to use this computer system mainly for the purpose of flexibility and which will be helpful in order to retrieve the data whenever it is required. For what purpose I am retrieving that? For my decision making. I wanted to make some decision which is helpful for my organization or an enterprise or firms. That is related to decision making. Next, use of computer. We are going to use the computer along with some software and hardware in order to hold the data and information which is required for my decision making. That is also one of the best feature, like whenever it is required I can access it without any of the things which will going to be restricted, like in terms of days, in terms of weather, or in the terms of place. It won't restrict anything. So that is the usage of this computer. That will be very fast and it will be accurate than the manual data processing. Everything comes to this feature of MIS. Next, complex process. So if you're running a business or if you're having a firms or organization, it is somehow not an easy task. So it will going to hold a different kinds of data, variety of data and large amount of data along with a heterogeneous data. So there could be a possibility of having this complex data too. So this MIS must have the ability to hold or to process the complex data and information is also, that is, complex process can be takes place with the help of this MIS. What is the next feature of this MIS? That is economical. It comes under the category of this cost and monetization. So having a computer with a basic feature, it is not so costly. Somehow it is reasonable in the terms of economical or in the terms of monetization. Next we have a variety. This MIS has the ability to hold or to process variety kind of information and data. Then it is future oriented. So I can say that MIS is also future oriented along with a present oriented. It will going to help me in order to make a decision as a feature thing, along with it will going to help me in order to make a best decision for my future of the organization or the firm also. Next, it is flexible. Why I am saying this as a flexible? Because we are dealing with a computer system. I am having a computer system which will going to hold the data and information which is required for my organization. So it is available 24/7 irrespective of time, date, time and its place, location. Doesn't matter anything for this computer. So it will be flexible in nature. So these are the features of having MIS. We'll see the next thing, that is subsystems of MIS. So if you consider the MIS, that is not only a single unit. So this will going to have a subsystem also. So in this subsystem, we have a organizational function subsystem and also we have a activity subsystem. What is this organizational function subsystem? If a MIS is deriving or if the subsystem which is supports the various functions of the organization, then we are going to call that as a organizational functions subsystem, because we are making a decision with the help of computer. I'm not only dealing with what decision making, and also I need to take care about my organization. I have to take care about the function which is takes place in my organization. So that activities, that functions, what is happening even inside and outside the organization will be termed as another subsystem. So here this supports the various function which will going to take place in the organization. What and all it includes? So it includes marketing. So and also it includes production or service, then it has a personnel, then finance and accounting. So like the functions of an organization includes marketing, like purchasing of raw facts or a purchasing of a raw material and generating the bills, receipt and accepting the requirement of a customer. That comes under this marketing. So this production or services include the cost analysis. How much is it will going to cost? That means we are going to have a concern regarding its time and money. So that is related to production or services. And this personnel includes human resources, what and all we require for the efficient running of the organization. Then we have a finance and accounting. So this will going to keep on tracking of the day-to-day transaction which is happening in the organization. What are the amount we require for this year and for in order to run the business efficiently in the next year? What is the budget? And that and all it will going to takes place in the terms of organizational function. So next subsystem we have a activity subsystem. As the name indicates, activity. What are the activities taking place in the organization? That comes in the activity subsystem. This supports the activity which they are used in the organization. What and all it includes? It has a transaction processing system. That means generating of a bill, taking care of a day-to-day transaction, like what are the number of orders we are getting, how many orders has been delivered to the user, are we generating any of the reports to that, or are we generating any of the receipts to that. That and all comes under this transaction processing system. So next we have a operational control system. So this operational control system will going to take care about the scheduling of the operations and what are the activities needs to be takes place and how it needs to be controlled and all the managerial things which comes under this operational control system. Next we have a management control system. So this include the scheduling of the budgeting, how much days needs to be takes place in order to complete this project, what are the activities needs to be takes place. Somehow it will going to hold a control or it will going to have a control over the managerial activities, that is which will be mainly related to decision making. Next we have a strategic planning system. How can be best in the market than our competitors? So we have to make some strategy, we have to think in a unique way in order to be in the top of an organization, like in order to be in the top of a market. So that strategy planning we have to, in order to be in the top of an market, then we have to make some strategies, we have to plan, like we have to think in a unique way. So what are the activities we are doing for that? That comes under this activity subsystem. So we have a organizational function subsystem along with a activity subsystem. So you have to write what is this transaction, operational and management strategic planning system is all about and what is concerned about. So that and all you have to write in this topic. We'll see the next one, that is MIS and other academic disciplines. As we all know that we are not only using this MIS only for the decision making and it is not only related or restricted to the organization. This MIS concept can also be used in another disciplines also. What it includes, we'll see the first discipline, that is management accounting. So it is mainly have a concern over how can what is the best thing I can bring to the market with a reasonable cost. So this management accounting is going to deals with a minimal usage of a cost with a particular time in order to have a best and efficient way of making a management decision. That comes into this management accounting. And also we have a operation research. In short, we can call this as a WAR. Somehow it is like what quantitative or it is a scientific way of representing the solution for the problem which will going to be happen in the organization or in the management. So this operation research will going to have scientific it will going to have some of the scientific methodology in order to overcome or in order to solve the problems which will going to take place in the organization or it is going to take place in the enterprise or in the firms. Next we have a management theory. So this will going to include empirical theory, decision making theory, and it will going to have some behavioral theory, how we are supposed to be in the market, how we are supposed to be in the organization, how the behavior must be, that means with whom we are supposed to talk in what way. So that means what? We must know what are the standards of the organization. So we have to be very conscious when we are in the market or when we are running a business or when we are doing any of the activities which is related to the business. So here also this management theory, it will be helpful for my decision making and also for the behavioral and also related to empirical. It is somehow qualitative and quantitative analysis will going to take place in this management theory. And also we have information technology, that is IT. With the help of computer system or with the help of new technologies and software, along with that we can use this MIS. That means by having different or new features of the softwares and by making use of a new computer feature, we can have this information technology for the decision making. That will be efficient way of making a decision which will going to help the organization to be in the top of a market. So these are the academic discipline that we can see which comes under the MIS. We'll see the next thing, that is operating elements of MIS, which is also important concepts for your examination also. So it can be asked for 5 marks. So what are the operating elements we have in a MIS? So if I am saying MIS, it will just going to hold all the hardware. It is also going to have a software and it has a database, personnel it is there, and some procedures will going to take place. What is the first operation element? That is hardware. So hardware, as we all know that it is a physical component. It can be seen, it can be touch. So CPU and all the input and output devices which comes under the category of this hardware devices. This MIS is dealing with computer system. If it is a computer system, it has to have a CPU along with the peripheral devices. That means input and output devices along with some of the storage device. That is hardware. Next we have a software, that is set of instruction which will going to guide the computer system what are the things needs to be takes place. Like it can be system software or it can be application software. So when it comes to the application software, that particular software is performing or it will be used only for the particular purpose. But this system software will going to have a control over this application software. For example, your social media like Instagram, WhatsApp, that and all comes under the AP, that is application software. And this system software is OS, that is operating system. Without this operating system, I can't run this application software. So that is a set of instruction in order to guide the computer hardware. Next we have a database. So if I wanted to collect large amount of data, then it is not so possible in order to hold that management data or organization data within a small amount of storage. So I must have a database which will help me in order to hold different kinds of data and heterogeneous data. So this database will going to help me in order to hold and retrieve the data and information whenever it is required. Next we have a personnel which is related to human resource, like training of a human, like training of a employee, giving them extra curriculum activities, making them active, and giving the special training to them in the terms of any of the organizational activities. So if everything is good, then together I can say that it is a efficient way of using MIS. So personnel is related to human resource. What are the specialists we have? Who are all my user? Who is the testing team? And what does this consist of? Everything comes under this personnel. Next we have a procedure. How the data and information needs to be used. In what manner we have to use. What are its terms and conditions in order to make a best use of that particular hardware or a software or any of the content which is resides in the database with the help of human resource. So together I can call all these things as a operating elements of an MIS. We'll see the next topic, that is structure of the MIS, which is based on the management activity. So getting done the thing by other, that is managerial skills. So this has three categories, which are those, so top or strategic level of management, and middle or tactical level of management, and I have a lower or operational level of management. So what each type of management or what each level of management will going to do. Each level has its unique characteristics. Each level will going to perform its own operations, or it will going to perform different operations. So here first is what top or strategic level of management. So it will going to include BOD, that is Board of Directors, Executive or CEO of the organization. They all comes under this category. So if I wanted to make any of the strategies, or if I wanted to take any confidential or which is more precious decision making for my organization, then it will going to be takes place with the help of this strategic level of management. It will be the top level of the management. So here you can see that strategic level. Next we have a tactical level, then we have a operational level. So this strategic level will going to be deals with a long-term decision. So if I am taking any of the decision which will be either good or bad for my organization, I have to be ready in order to face all those consequences. Here also in the top or strategic level of management, this will going to have a decision making capability. So it will going to include a board of directors, CEO of the organization, all the top level managers, all the top level activities which will going to be takes place in the strategic level of management. Next we have a middle or tactical level of management. So it will going to take place with the help of managers of the organization, and it will going to hold, or it will going to have a middle range of decision making. So this tactical level or middle level will going to get a guidance from the strategic level. So what are the things needs to be do, or what are the things should not be done, everything will going to be guided by the strategic level to this tactical level. So this manager of an organization or enterprise will going to uphold the statement which is given by the strategic level of management. They are just going to assist the operational level of management, which is the next next step of this tactical level of management. So this strategic level of management will going to hold, or will going to have a long term of decision making. This tactical level of management will going to have a middle range or middle level of decision making, and it can be in the terms of 4 months or a quadrants, or it will going to make a decision for monthly basis. So that are the things which will going to happen in the tactical level. So when it comes to the lower or operational level of management, here the management activities which will going to be takes place day by day. So that operations dynamic things which is taking place in the organization will comes in the category of this operational level of management. What are the operations or activities which is takes place day to day on the market or in the organization? That and all the category which comes under this operational level of management. So this will going to hold the activities and information keep on tracking, which will going to help in order to make a efficient and effective decision on the daily basis. So this operational level of management will going to uphold the things which is given by this tactical level of management. This is related to what? Structure of the MIS, which will be based on the management activity, on the basis of what are the kinds of activities they are performing, like in the tactical level what will going to happen, in the strategic level what will going to happen, or in the terms of operational level of management what will going to take place. Everything comes under this topic. We'll see the next thing, that is structure of MIS on organizational functions. So previous is what? Management activity. So next we are having a structure of a MIS which will be based on the organizational function. Then what is this function is includes? What does this function consist of? It has a marketing subsystem, it has a human resource subsystem, finance and accounting subsystem, and purchase subsystem. Each subsystem will going to perform some of the activities. So if I take an example of this marketing subsystem, from purchasing of a raw material to the finished goods, or giving or rendering a services in the terms of goods, or in the terms of software and all to the user which are in the requirement. So that may include this marketing subsystem. That subsystem will going to hold, or it will going to have a concern regarding marketing related activities, like purchasing of a raw material and sending of a pamphlet, making it active, so giving an advertisement, doing the marketing. So those are the activities which comes under this marketing subsystem. So now we'll see the next topic, that is structure of the MIS, which is based on the organizational function. So in the previous slide we got to know the structure of MIS which is based on the management activities. So now we'll see what will going to take place in the organization activities. It is related to the activities which is taking place in the organization. So what and all it includes? So it includes production subsystem, and it has marketing subsystem, and it has a human resource subsystem, and it has finance and accounting subsystem, and also it includes purchase subsystem. So when you come to this production subsystem, it mainly concern about what? Getting of a raw material until it reaches to the production of goods or services, which needs to be what? Finished things or finished goods or services which needs to be reached to the required customer. So that purchasing of a raw material and taking care about the services, what are the operations needs to be takes place in between, everything will going to concern about this production subsystem. And also we have marketing subsystem. So without doing marketing, that information or that service or a product cannot be reached to the user. So if we got to know about the products, then only it will be very helpful for the user in order to get to know what is this product is all about, how can I deal with it, everything can be takes place. So this marketing subsystem will going to be concerned about marketing and giving a promotions, doing the billings and giving a promotion by sending some of the pamphlets, giving some advertisements, that and all which comes under this marketing subsystem. And we have a human resource subsystem. As I told, it is mainly related to the personnel. That means what are the specialists we have, how can I train them, what are the activities can be takes place, and what are the best thing we have in this employee, what are the another potential activities that can be done by another employee. So we have to consider the employee as a resource of an organization, so that it is mentioning this as a human resource subsystem. And also we have finance and accounting subsystem, like it is related to billing, what are the money or cost it requires in order to complete this project or in order to produce these goods and services. So all those points which comes under this finance and accounting subsystem. And also we have purchase subsystem. After producing all those goods and information services and all, it has to reach to the customer who is exactly in the need. What are the requirement of the marketing? So what are the purchase, like how they are purchasing, how the data needs to be reached to the customer, on what basis it has to reach, what are the points we have to consider. So everything which comes under this purchase subsystem. So this is related to what? Structure of an MIS, which is based on the organizational activities. So it's all about your module 1. So now I have some important questions for all of you. So I'm sure this will be helpful in order to score high in the MIS. So here I have listed out 15 mark questions and 10 marks question along with the 5 marks questions. So here you can take a screenshot out of it. I'm sure that it will be helpful in order to score high in the subject of MIS. I hope you all understood this session. Let me meet you in the next session with a module 2, that is concept of information. Until that, keep learning, keep on watching. Thank you.